last month, my virtual assistant worked 154 hours for me. She freed up 154 hours of my time so that I could focus on the things that truly move the needle in my business and so that I wasn't so burnt out. And I have so many people asking me, like, how do I get a virtual assistant? Like, every time I post about it, people just like bombard my messages. And I thought I would just make a video, just simply breaking down the process that I have used to find my virtual assistant, who has now been with me for 2 years, spent over 2,000 hours working for me, how I found her, the process I used to onboard her, how I work with her day in, day out, how much I pay her, how much I've raised her pay, all these things that are super important. I'm just gonna break it down, make a really simple version of this so that you can go out and get your own virtual assistant, buy back your time and enjoy your business more and be less burnt out. So let's get into it. I like to keep things simple, so I'm just going to use a Google Doc, and all the links in here will be linked in the description below. So first thing, list out your tasks. Like, just get honest with yourself, lay it all out. What are you doing every single day of a given week? And even down to the little, checked email. I don't know, like all the things that take up your energy that you do all the time. Once you've done that, you go and you highlight the tasks that only you can do. And so I've used an example for myself of things that I do throughout a week. And the things that I need to do are highlighted. The things that I don't need to do, like managing inbox, scheduling appointments, all that stuff, I've added a little time, like an amount that it takes per week. And when I've multiplied all of these tasks here, it comes out to about 56 hours per month. So this is like an average person who I speak to. And I've helped people onboard virtual assistants. And this is like pretty average. There's like 56 hours a month that they're just doing stuff that they don't need to be doing because they want to feel busy. And a lot of times people want to feel busy because there's some big, huge, hairy tasks, big projects that they're avoiding doing by staying super busy with all these little things. So you really got to be like honest with yourself. 56 hours. If we multiply that by like an average hourly, like some people might be much higher than this, some people may be a bit lower, but average $100 an hour, $5,600 per month that you are spending of your time and also your energy, which we can't put a price on. A VA would cost $336 a month for that exact same thing. $6 an hour. And if you're worried about the ethics behind paying somebody $6 an hour, my VA is now paid more like $10 an hour, but the average wage in the Philippines is $5 an hour. And that could be for stuff like laying bricks or like working construction, like dangerous jobs. These people get to work online, doing really engaging work, remote, wherever they want. You can make up your mind about how you feel about that. So the difference is $5,264 per month that you could be saving of your money, but also the opportunity cost now of what you can achieve now that you have all of this time back, which I think it's priceless. You can't even put a price on that. So do your own calculation, figure out how much money are you spending, like time, money, spending on these tasks. The next thing, step 3, is to make a copy of this super, super, super cool, really, really useful spreadsheet that I've created called the VA task list. So let's open this up. The things that you need to know, put your VA's name up here, put their start and their end time so you know when they're working. They'll do this, obviously, so that you're able to kind of know when you can communicate with them. And then over here are their ongoing responsibilities, checking inbox, posting content, all these things. The frequency, so daily, weekly, or just specific days. And then whether or not the standard operating procedure is up to date or needs to be updated. This kind of gives you a lay of the land again, and it really makes it easy to work with them. And then each day they just go, okay, check inbox, done. Post content, done. Send daily updates, done. All these things, right? And what you can do over here is you can hyperlink all of the standard operating procedures for these tasks so that your VA can easily click on this and just see exactly what to do. And then down here are one-time tasks. So like research video, create new spreadsheet, whatever. And they just use this drop-down menu to figure out where they are in the process. Super simple. This will be down in the description. After that, make a video or written SOP for how to do this, because you're going to need to explain to them like how this task is done. And it's better if you write it down rather than just teaching it to them, because if your VA leaves or there's some reason why you might need, like let's say your VA is so good that you then want to hire another one to free up some of their time, you want all these SOPs written out. Business is only as strong as its systems, so create these systems. Either just create a video like a Loom, like what I'm doing right now, literally this exact thing that I'm doing right now, of like how to do this. But my favorite is to create a video and a written document to go along with it, and you just link the video inside the written document. And then you just come over here and you hyperlink it. So yeah, that's step 4. Step 5, simple one, but really important. You need to make sure that you're protected just in case. You just never know with working with people online. LastPass, there's other options as well, but something that can protect your password so that you are not just giving your virtual assistant access to your Google account or access to like your bank or something. Like, let's just not do that without trusting this person. And then also some kind of time tracker. So they can just do something on their end. But you need to make sure that you're actually tracking their time each month, not just because you want to like trust them, but also because you want to see how long do these tasks take. And then you can kind of go back and audit based on that. Step 6, drop all of these tasks up here into ChatGPT, which I've already done over here. And you can see I dropped in here and we get like an entire breakdown of everything. And you can literally just like take this and edit it. And then you're going to use this for finding your applicants. Step 7, you're going to go to onlinejobs.ph, PH for Philippines. So we're going to be looking in the Philippines and you're going to post your job for $6 an hour. Now, I posted mine for $6. And then after about a year, when I built a lot of trust in my virtual assistant, I essentially doubled that amount that I'm paying her because she's amazing. And pro tip, when you go to create an application, there is a feature where applicants can submit with a certain number of apply points. The more that they use, the more it costs them. And so when you get one with a whole bunch of apply points, you know, oh, wow, this person really like wants this. And so at the top of my description, the very top, I write, if you apply with less than 10 apply points, you will not be considered. And then I get all these applicants with 1, 2, 3 apply points. And I know that they didn't read. And if they can't read that, if they didn't read that, then they are not detail oriented enough to be my assistant. And you can see like my last virtual assistant application got like 63 applicants. Okay, now step 8, filter through and interview your top 5 picks. So just like go through everybody who applies and you can use the little pin feature in Online Jobs. By the way, the link for this will be down below and this is a discount code. So you can 100% use that. Some affiliate marketing right there. Although I don't think I've ever made money from that link, but maybe I will from this. So anyways, step 8, filter through and interview your top 5 picks. So pin them. And when you are interviewing them, you really need to get to know this person. Like this is not just this task bot, like AI robot on the other side. This is a person who is going to be committing a lot of time and energy to your business. And so treat them incredibly well. Treat them as good as you would treat any other employee, because these can become the most amazing team members for your business long term. Like I know people who have had virtual assistants for 10 plus years. So questions like ask them, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like get to know them. What is your goal with this position? Like figure out, you know, how many hours can they work in a week? Like what else are they doing? What kind of hobbies do they do? Are you working for anybody else? You would ideally want a virtual assistant who just works for you. And you can ask them, you know, if they do work for somebody else, say, would you eventually be able to, you know, just work for me? Because you don't want their attention to be super split. Are you available on weekends if I really need you? Do not abuse this, but most of them will be available on weekends for very, very, you know, just like emergency tasks or small things to kind of check in on. But absolutely do not abuse this. Like, you know, treat them like an employee, give them their time off. And then step 9, pick your top choice out of these 5 people. So you narrow down all the applicants to 5, then you interview all 5, then you pick your top choice, but make sure to keep the other 4 just in case. You never know. Trust me on that one. Sometimes your second or third choice is actually the person who you'll spend the next year with. Step 10, introduce them to the job with a few tasks at first. And, you know, I would say like test them for a week and you'll know right away with how quickly they pick up tasks, how responsive they are, how receptive they are to feedback, how much they're kind of like if you feel like you need to drag them along, it's not going to be a good fit. And you cannot make somebody like that into a good fit by training them. It's an attitude thing and it probably will never be a good fit. And so introduce them to a few tasks through the VA task list, just like, you know, highlight the ones that you're going to start doing and slowly just kind of build them into the process and then meet with them weekly. That's step 11 and let them get to know you. Share the vision with them, share your offer with them, share all these things that they can get a full knowledge of what you're doing rather than them just being a task bot, like I said before. A couple bonus things that I just wanted to kind of add and mention that you can do with your virtual assistant that I think are really cool. So for any outreach that my assistant does following, you know, my messages that I've created to send to people, if I ever get a client from any of my virtual assistants outreach, then I will give her a pretty hefty bonus from that to, again, invest her in the overall process. My virtual assistant now also makes SOPs herself. I actually made an SOP for how to make SOPs. It's super meta. So now whenever a new task pops up and I'm like, hey, can you do this? And she's like, absolutely. She goes and learns it. She builds the SOP for it. She makes the video. She links it in the task list. And so all future people, whoever works in the business, can always see the SOPs that she's made. Also, just to mention, like my version of this is like super big. I have like 50 tasks on this. So you can just keep expanding and expanding and expanding. And it's a great way to kind of get an overview of your business. And then the last thing, when hiring a new virtual assistant, because I've actually hired a couple of people to take over some of my assistant's base level tasks so that she can kind of rise up with me into the more higher leverage things. My VA actually does the whole process. And so she filters everything out. She does the job description. I just go and show up to the 5 calls and pick my top one. And then she onboards them and trains them and oversees their work. So that saves me, my gosh, 40 hours in the process. I don't even know. So I believe that this is the biggest hack for businesses. I had a virtual assistant before I was even making $2,000 per month, and it allowed me to scale with her and to continue to outsource more of these tasks to her so that I could focus on what was the most important. And so I hope this is useful to you, and I hope you can go out and get a VA. And if you do, let me know that it worked. I'd love to hear about how much time you freed up. And yeah, that's it for me.